Thank you for your time today. Today we are going to discuss about mental health. Mental health is the topic that we are touching on there. As your chairman, it is my responsibility to guide our strategic direction. However, leadership is not just about numbers, revenue, or market share. It is about the people who drive those metrics. Today, I want to step away from our standard of financial updates to introduce a technical talk directly. In fact, our organizational resilience, and that topic is mental health. Good morning, esteemed members of the board. Welcome to our session. As leaders, we meticulously monitor the health of our organization, we review financial policies, assets, market risks, and safeguard our physical assets. Yet there is an invisible infrastructure that powers everything we do. The psychological well-being of our people. Today I want to bring a vital topic to the forefront of our governance. We need to talk openly about mental health, its strategic importance, and why it belongs on our board meeting today. Define mental health. What is mental health? To address effectively, we must first establish a clear, shared definition. Mental health is not merely the absence of psychiatric disorder. According to the WHO, that is the World Health Organization, mental health is a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the stress of life, realize their abilities, learn well and work well, and contribute to the community. In a corporate context, that is our context over here, since this is a board meeting, mental health is the cognitive and emotional engine of our workforce. It dictates how our employees process stress, how they collaborate during crisis, how innovatively they think, and how they make daily operational decisions. It is the very foundation of our institutional capability. Mental health versus mental illness. A critical point of confusion we must eliminate as a board is the false assumption that mental health and mental illness are the exact same thing. No, they are entirely different concepts. And here is what differentiates them. Mental health is a universal state of well-being that applies to every person in this room, in this company, and anyone on this world. We all have mental health just as we all have physical health, and it fluctuates daily based on stress, environment, and life events. Mental illness, however, on the other hand, refers on diagnosable medical conditions such as clinical depression, bipolar disorder, or severe anxiety disorders. These are illnesses that significantly disrupt a person's thinking, feeling, and functioning. Another example that I can give is like ADHD and ODC. I know some or many of you already have such diseases. An individual can have poor mental health due to intense workplace burnout without having a clinical illness. Conversely, a person with a managed mental illness can experience excellent mental wellness if they have right support systems. Understanding this distinction allows us to move away from crisis management and focus heavily on prevention. The importance of knowing one's wellness and conclusion. This brings me to our final responsibility, prompting awareness. Why is it vital for individuals to include everyone at this table to accurately know their own mental wellness? Because self-awareness is the ultimate risk mitigation tool. When an individual recognizes the early warning signs of their own declining mental wellness, such as chronic exhaustion, irritability, or a drop of decision-making clarity, that they can take proactive steps. They can seek rest, leverage counseling resources, or adjust their workload before slipping into a full-blown crisis or illness. As a board, fostering a culture where people understand their mental wellness reduces absenteeism, prevents catastrophic burnout, and protects our talent. Let us lead by example. Let us normalize this conversation, dismantle the lingering stigmas, and treat mental wellness as the high priority asset it truly is. Thank you, and let us proceed to today's agenda.
Hello, my name is Newton Madam, a member of this community. And as mentioned by my colleague, mental illness is about physiological, social, and emotional well-being. And I'll be taking you the process of mental health. Causes are the things that increase the chances of developing health problems. And I'll start by genetic factors. These are conditions that are passed from parents down to their children through genes. This means a person can inherit these disorders from their parents if their parents were likely to have depressed, anxiety, and other conditions. These are painful and frightening events that one may undergo, such as loss of a loved one, physical or emotional abuse, and any other serious accidents that may lead to diagnostic emotional scars. These events may lead to depression, stress, if someone don't require support. Another thing is substance abuse. This is the excessive use of drugs such as alcohol to relieve stress. At first, it may seem to be working, but as the person continues, this destroys the mental health of a person. For example, maybe a student who is under pressure to study for exams, they start using drugs so that they don't feel the pressure of studying for the exam. But with time, the student perform well in the exam, in academic, and without friends to talk to share with, they may end up having mental health problems. Another thing is poverty and unemployment. Due to the economic hardship in the society, people try to provide to their family and to themselves. With no job to make them to sustain themselves, they may end up being depressed, hence affecting their mental health. For example, I am a student who has just graduated and is seeking for a job and without success and lack of job employment. May end up being stressed to pay rent, food, and other needs. Another thing is isolation and loneliness. As humans, we are social beings, and we need to be around people, community, friends to feel the connection. And if someone isolates themselves, they may end up being affected by this mental health, such as losing their confidence, being low esteem, and other things. Another thing is discrimination and stigma. This is treating someone unfairly because of their religion, gender, and disability. When someone is treated based on their gender, religion, they may feel dejected and they may start withdrawing from friends, and this may lead to mental health since they don't have anyone to share with their problem. So it is important we support each other so that no one undergoes these mental health issues. Another thing is poor lifestyle. Poor lifestyle is the habit of not getting enough exercise, not eating enough, staying up on phone for a very long time. This habit affects your body first, like you don't eat healthy, your body does not get sufficient nutrients to support the body function and the brain functions, and you may end up being at high risk of being affected by stress, anxiety, and as I finish, I would say that mental illness, by identifying the risk of mental illness, we can identify the people who are affected by this mental health and support them, hence improving our overall health. And I would like to welcome the next speaker.
Everyone, today my name is Brian Gulati. Today I'll be talking about signs, symptoms, and common health disorders. Mental health problems can affect the ways that a person thinks, feels, and behaves. Recognizing the signs early can help someone get support and treatment. An example of emotional signs. Emotional signs can change a person how he or she feels. He or she might be feeling sad for a long time, anxious and worried all the time. Frequent mood changes, such as happiness one moment, angry at the next, feeling hopeless or losing interest in activities they used to enjoy. They might also be affected by behavioral signs, which can change a person how he or she might react. They might, for example, they might withdraw from family and friends. They might have trouble in schools. They might get into drugs. They may change their eating and sleeping habits. For example, a student who suddenly stopped attending classes and avoiding friends may show signs of mental problems. Common mental problems are like these depressions, anxiety, bipolar disorder, The signs and symptoms of mental health problems is very important. Earlier support and treatment can help a person recover and live a healthy life. If you notice the signs in a person or somebody else, encourage them to talk to a trusted friend or a professional. Thank you for listening.
My name is Shani, talking about prevention and treatment of mental health. The first point is public health preventive frameworks. Underneath is talking about universal prevention program. It focuses on large-scale public campaigns to take secret, psychiatric illness and promote emotional literacy. The second point is selective and indicated strategies. Targets vulnerable demographics by offering tailored socioeconomic supports in unequal economics. These protocols touch on clinical signs of distress early, allowing care teams to intervene before conditions worsen. The second point is clinical treatment modalities, under which there is supervised pharmacotherapy, which is selective inhibitors and a strict clinical supervision for long-term heat stabilization. The third point is socio-economic macro-financial consequences, under which there is individual and family long-term impacts. Chronic psychiatric conditions alter nervous system functioning, metabolic processes. The second point is caregiver benefits. The ongoing long-term demands of supporting an individual with severe psychiatric conditions strain family needs. This continuous stress leads to high rates of chronic emotional and physical caregiver burnout. Conclusion. Non-binary continence. Human psychological health is a fluid continent, treating it as a rigid binary system of healthy versus limits effective diagnosis and early care. I want to
We are going to talk about the effects of mental health. There are many effects, including the individual health effects. One from the individual health effects: physical health decline. Chronic stress elevates and leading high blood pressure. This may even cause death. Sleep disruption. Anxiety and depression cause severe insomnia or chronic fatigue. Cognitive decline. Struggling individuals experience poor concentration and memory loss. Maybe in a student, it may cause poor concentration in class, and even memory loss will be not remembering the same things that you are taught maybe when you are teaching. Immune suppression. Long-term mental strain weakens your body defense system, whereby the immune is the one that is used to fight against the germs that cause diseases, and it will be weakened. Appetite changes. So the condition trigger extreme overeating or loss of appetite. So one may be overeating or one may lose appetite. Another effects are the social and relations. Social withdrawal. Individual routine isolate themselves from friends and family. Frequent conflicts. This may cause irritability, causing strain and arguments with loved ones. Maybe anyone that is married may argue with his spouse in the house because of mental disorders. Communication breakdown. Expressing emotions clearly becomes overwhelming and difficult. So one may find it difficult to express emotions in someone. Loneliness loops. Isolating creates a circle that worsens the original condition. Effects of mental health in workplaces and academic effects. Mental health focus in daily activity and health tied in physical well-being. Absenteeism. So one may be absent in job or schools. Frequently missing days and exhausted. So one may be just feeling exhausted, leading to absenteeism. Career stagnation. Decreased motivations, halts promotion and academic growth. Financial strain. Medical costs and jobs loss create heavy economic pressure. While finishing, let's go about the effects of mental health in the community and systematic effects. The collectively impacts of mental health strains the society at large. Healthcare burdens. Hospitals face overwhelming strain from untreated psychological crisis. Economic loss. Nations lose billions of money producing and enforcing participation in mental health organization. Generation of trauma. parents struggle heavily, impact earlier childhood development. Thank you. So I welcome the chairman to conclude.
Yeah, so after this meeting, I'd like to conclude by saying that mental health is a fundamental element to overall well-being, directly influencing physical health, economic stability, and social cohesion, which necessitates treating it as a systematic public health priority rather than an isolated issue. In conclusion, to highlight that early intervention is critical. That includes the prevention part, which was handled by one of us. As most disorders manifest by age 14, while stigma and iniquity remain primary barriers to care about. More information on this topic can be found on the World Health Organization website, the WHO. And that is all for today. Thank you for your time.